and many people say, for some reason, like so many American channels are there and very famous, but not in like other countries so much. Do you think there is any reason for that?
I think there is something about
like maybe I mean, including Canada, of course.
Yes, I think there's something about the United States and the energy, and not so much today and in the last decade. There's much more movement today across the globe, but I think earlier on there was kind of an infusion of people from all around the world. It was kind of a microcosm of different races and different cultures coming together. So I think that may be part of it, that there was such a mixture. So I'm not really sure exactly why that is, why souls. I haven't really asked the guides about that.
Oh, okay. So that would be a very interesting question to ask. Okay. And talking about like, being in your heart. And also my former boss, he was a water crystal guy, and his theory is for us always love and gratitude. These two are the very important thing. So like when we are in gratitude, we can attract something that we want to feel grateful about.
Yes.
So is there any comment from them about gratitude?
Yeah, so there are a couple of frequencies that are quite high that allow us access to our high heart, which is the multidimensional gateway. So we can access our higher consciousness, we can access our guides, the Akashic records. So all that becomes available. And the guides describe it as kind of our operating system to access multidimensional information. So gratitude is one of those frequencies, as well as compassion and love. But love gets tricky because people have, a lot of attachments to love. They might feel depressed because they're not in a relationship, or it can trigger other things. So gratitude and compassion are two wonderful frequencies to focus on for that. But we have the two operating systems. We have the ego mind, which we needed in order to operate under the illusion of separation. And then we have the heart center, which allows us to access all that multidimensional information.
Yes, makes sense. Right.
And so we're trying to stay in that heart-centered space so we can elevate our frequency. We can connect with the moment, the now moment, as opposed to the ego mind, which is in lack, limitation, and separation. So you're not fully present. If you're heart-centered, you're present. Gratitude will keep you present.
Yes, yes. That's very true. And today, later on, if it's possible, we would like to have you being in the channeling state, if possible. Would it be possible?
Yes.
Later? Now it's 19 minutes, 30. So maybe for like 20 minutes or so, if you can channel.
Yes, hello dears. This is the Ninth Dimensional Pleiadian Collective, and it is a pleasure and an honor to have the opportunity to connect with you. We are deeply honored to be able to share our knowledge and wisdom with you this way. So how may we best be of service to you?
Yes, first of all, we'd like to know for how long you have been helping us human beings, like since the beginning of the creation of planet Earth, or like how long? We'd like to know.
Well, the Pleiadians in general have been working with you all since your inception. We are your progenitors. We have donated genetic material to create your species. And we have been guardians, aiding you along the way. So about 400,000 years ago, we began to interact in a more direct way with your species. And at that time, there were also beings from Lyra who appeared and were also lending their energy, and this is what you consider to be the early days of Lemuria. So we've been here off and on. where we have returned to see how you're doing, to teach you the higher ways of being, so that eventually, this time that you're going through, you could elevate yourselves and become stewards, not only for the planet, but eventually, in several millennia, you will be guardians for the galaxy. All right, you'll be stewards for the galaxy.
Wow.
So this was the original blueprint for humanity. Now, you've taken a little sidestep in some ways where there have been what you might consider to be heavier energies, more negative energies who've been present. But the beautiful thing about that is that these experiences that you've had with control and manipulation on the planet, with suppression, it helps you understand the whole. It helps you to have a tremendous amount of compassion as you come through the ascension process. So as you grow as a species, you're able to access a high level of compassion, which makes you perfect stewards for the galaxy and eventually the universe. This is where you're headed, but it's a long time until you get there. But that was the original intention as your planet was seeded. Your planet itself is a grand experiment. There's genetic material from thousands of worlds that have been donated to your planet. And that is also why there are so many beings right now who are interested in what is going on your planet, because they have donated their genetic material. They want to understand the emotional component, how you all alter frequency, shift frequency, because some of these planets don't have the emotional range that you have. And so it's very fascinating to watch you all grow and struggle and see what you create. You are a very creative species. Not all species are as creative as humanity. You have a very special connection to source. You have access to the creative spark in a more direct way than other species. So everybody's interested to see what will transpire on Earth, because, you know, this was originally planned as a game of descension and reascension. Can you forget who you are and come back up out of it? And when you come up out of it and you cross the dimensional barrier into a remembrance of who you are, what will happen is you will access a level of compassion that is exceptional. Because where you're coming from, where it's so dark and dense and heavy and difficult, you have a lot of compassion for others going through something that is difficult, because you yourself at some level have had a similar experience.
So we can relate to that.
You can. And you can create a broad bandwidth of compassion. Even for us where we are, we're not embodied. So although we can access the frequency of compassion, it's nowhere near the intensity and the bandwidth that you can express. So it's quite special, and it will have a ripple effect throughout the entire universe, because as you go through the process, you share that information with those that have contributed their genetic material. It's in the genetic memory. It's holographic. And so it has a massive ripple effect throughout the entire universe. So not only is this, you know, a process where Earth is going through the ascension and having a shift, your shift will impact the entire universe.
So we feel very responsible about this, actually.
Yes,
it's exciting, but we, you know, it's a big responsibility.
Yes, but the soul understood this, and this is part of why you forgot. You just keep on going. Some of you hold a tremendous amount of responsibility already for other lifetimes, other civilizations that didn't fare so well, such as Atlantis. Atlantis was kind of a trial run for what you're going through now. You are moving through a sector of space that is rich with high frequency energy, and that is aiding you in the process. Atlantis didn't have the benefit of being in this particular sector of space, and so it was much more difficult for beings to elevate their frequency at that time. So now you've kind of been through it once where you had an opportunity to overcome all that, and now you have the benefit of that experience, that knowledge, that wisdom to bring with you for this time.
Wow. Yes. And also, we hear a lot about Anunnaki originally
Yes.
trying to create humans here on Earth. Is it true?
Well, they like to take credit for it.
Yes, sounds like.
What most of you think, the word itself is kind of a broad term, but what most of you will think of the Anunnaki is more in a negative connotation, beings who are controlling and manipulating, and that's a relatively small sect. There have been beings here from the Pleiades, from Sirius, from Orion, from Andromeda, from Arcturus, from Lyra, and we've been here, we've been helping you. So you could put us under that label, but we'll talk more specifically to the negative ones that you are thinking about. And, there was no one to correct them. So they took credit for a lot of that, in that they modified your DNA and enslaved you. And they did do that to some extent, but they were not your original progenitors.
I see. Wow, how interesting. So, especially about your beings or you, Pleiadians, we'd like to know more about your world. Like, is it completely non-physical over there, or do you sometimes have any physical body, or in the 9th dimension, 12th dimension? It's very difficult for us to imagine that kind of world.
Yes, we understand. So we'll do our best to kind of describe it, but the Pleiades star system itself is quite vast, and there are beings who inhabit it multiple dimensions, and some of them physical, some non-physical. We are non-physical. And rather than incarnating to a planetary body the way that you do, we actually align our energy, or you can think of it as soul mission, to a star. And in our case, Alcyone or Alcyon in the Pleiades star system. It is the central sun, the central star for your galaxy. It is a repository of information. So all of the records, it is a central point where all of the records can be found for each individual, each life form throughout the galaxy. So within your own system, all of the records of all of the beings who live upon Mother Earth are stored in her records, in her energetic field. That information is transmitted to your sun. Your sun is a repository of information for your entire solar system. That knowledge then goes off to Alcyone. So think about it like you being a paperback book. All right, the planet herself is your local library, and then the sun is a branch library, and then you've got the main library, all right, which is Alcyone.
Okay.
In the Pleiades.
Wow.
So you can access records within yourself, but if you go to one of the libraries, there are beings there who their mission is to aid you in finding specific frequencies, specific information that will aid you. They are librarians, and you can call on them at any time. They're always happy to help you.
Here on Earth, we can call them.
Yes,
Wow.
you can channel them. And, we ourselves, we are keepers of frequency and keepers of time. So we, throughout this galaxy, the best way we can describe it is to help maintain the integrity of the threads or the tapestry of the galaxy. This is our quadrant that we oversee. And Earth is an important part of that, because you have the ability through your nuclear war and destruction to impact that.
True. Very
So
true.
that is part of why we're here as well, to kind of protect the rest of the galaxy. So we're aiding you in increasing your frequency. But we're also keepers of time. And time is very malleable.
Right.
It doesn't really exist.
Right.
Only as a construct of this dimension. But there are those who are able to move through time and impact time. We'll say timelines, but timelines don't really exist. They're just a series of now moments that you string together. But they can move through now moments and impact them so intensely as to distort the entire tapestry. So we do kind of monitor that as well. That's part of our job, as it were. Now, as we said, we don't have physical bodies. We are a collective of about 2,500 beings, 25, 26. It varies. It fluctuates. But Wendy, an aspect of her, is part of this group. So you could say, in a way, we do have a physical body. We've got a representative on Earth.
Right.
But generally speaking, no, because we're vibrating in a different space. We're working under a different construct.